Hey everybody, I'm Andrew,
And I'm Paul.
and welcome to our fan shoutouts number 3. This one is specifically towards our Guardians of the Galaxy podcast,
Yeah.
which we got some great feedback
Yeah,
from
what is
someone in particular.
Yes.
So,
Good friend of mine, Katrina Vasquez, new to the fan voice. I
yes.
brought her on and showed her, and she just went nuts with it. She's like, I love this, and I love, like, giving replies and stuff. So she talked a lot about, just the, flow of her video and her opinions as well. And I'm going to bring out the main points so we can kind of talk about and elaborate and stuff
Alright,
like that.
okay.
So, first off, we were talking about how, like, sentimental moments were really, like, awkward and everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
She thinks that they're awkward, or?
She thinks the flow of the movie went pretty well, and the middle sentimental part where, it was Star-Lord and Gamora.
Right, and then
With
that
the
transitions
radio.
into the scene with Rocket.
Yeah, exactly. It went by so fast. What she said was basically, it was sentimental for a second, but then it was quickly covered by an awesome track and then comedy, kind of thing. So, it didn't really jeopardize the flow of the movie. And then, what she said, the big sentimental part was at the end of the movie. So
yeah, that's definitely true.
Yeah. So what she was saying was that basically, like, the flow was good, that it slowed down after the entire flow of comedy and everything, if that makes sense.
I guess I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that. You mean like
she was really okay with the flow
pacing.
The pacing of the movie
okay.
as
Okay.
well. And kind of related into that, we were kind of talking about how it was really rushed, getting to know all these, like, characters and stuff.
Right, and I think not just getting to know them, I think was fine. I would take a lot of that with a grain of salt, but for me it was the interactions and the relationships between the characters felt rushed.
Okay, yeah.
But what was she?
Well, one thing I didn't really like. I kind of felt it was really rushed, but, like,
Yeah,
I didn't have a perspective on what she had, and she was saying, well, yeah, but she felt like you really got to know the characters throughout the movie, like, little bits and pieces of their lives were just sprinkled through the whole thing, kind of.
Okay.
And I was like,
okay.
oh, yeah, that's a pretty cool perspective to look at.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I personally didn't see that, I guess. But-
yeah, I mean, well, there was the Star-Lord scene where he talked a little about
Right.
where he first revealed the awesome mix, and then a little afterwards, she mentions the part where Rocket Raccoon just mentioned some stuff about him being an experiment,
Right.
and a few things here and there, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
Definitely.
I can appreciate that, and I definitely can. I just
Mhm.
for me it wasn't. They weren't. I felt like that wasn't the focus. It was like little drops here and there, but for me that's not really. That doesn't build a character for me. So as I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, that was great, and Rocket Raccoon talks about how he's an experiment. It would have been great, except for the fact that I'm like, that's just. It felt like it came out of nowhere, and I don't know why I should relate to you. Because that's the first thing I've ever heard of any of that.
Okay.
I definitely know that you're an experiment, and I definitely know that's going to come up, but it just happens.
Right.
My main problem, and I think she thinks it's a good thing, so that's kind of an interesting duality.
Yeah.
My main problem is that it's immediately brushed away.
Okay.
With comedy and action.
Okay.
An experiment, like, that whole thing sucks. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, never mind. Right?
I see.
That's my main problem with that.
Okay.
Because I feel as if that was almost out of place. Like, if you're going to go for this big movie, just go for it. But I felt like a lot of those scenes didn't work for me.
Okay.
They kind of came out of nowhere, generally.
Okay.
Or came out of one or two moments preceding it. Which just didn't seem like a lot.
I guess another thing we have to think about, too, is, like, I guess a critical scene would be when, was the jail scene, when we also got more bits and pieces of, like, there was that quick summary of everyone, and then the prisoner rumors about Drax and then Gamora as well. We got to hear a little here and there. And then later also Gamora slowly reveals more about like her past and like how she actually hates Thanos and everything.
Yeah.
And like Drax continually brought up his family here and there kind of thing.
Right. And I get, once again, I get that.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying that for me, I was kind of like, well, you're definitely focusing on comedy, but then there are these moments thrown in, and it felt like it didn't work for me.
Okay.
I don't know. I was just kind of like, I don't care about any of these characters. They've been funny this whole time, and every time one of those moments happened, I was like, okay.
I see. Okay.
And I couldn't get into that. I just couldn't get into it.
Uh-huh.
And I think a lot of the reason, I mean, we talked a little bit about this, is that I was kind of overhyped about this movie. I think I went in expecting too much. And I didn't get that, which is kind of unfortunate. Like, I just didn't get what everybody was talking about. And I'm still the outlier here. Everybody loves this movie, which I think is great. I think it's a good movie. It's a good risk. It's different. It's unique. So I think that's a good thing. I didn't like I guess you could call them serious moments. I did not feel, and I get how they're just little things, and I get how they're meant to lead into comedy and lead from comedy. It just didn't feel right to me.
Okay. All right.
So, I gotta still disagree, but I know everybody else really likes that moment a lot, especially the Rocket one. And I think that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, if that people obviously took that and went, wow, I really like this character now. And that's good. I think that's I mean, maybe he's doing something right and I'm the messed up one. Probably that's exactly what's happening.
We all have our opinions.
Yeah, well, I mean, and the script it's not like that was a mistake in the script. He obviously wrote it that way.
Right, absolutely.
And so he was meant to do that, and maybe it's just not my thing.
Okay.
I like a slow build on characters most of the
That's
time.
understandable. Yeah, and we kind of mentioned before how it's difficult with this kind of setting kind of thing.
It generally is.
Yeah.
When you have that many characters.
Right, absolutely.
It can be difficult.
But for what they had to work with in the time period, I think they did everything they could.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Yeah, I just,
I got you.
I'm below. My opinion is still below what most people hold this movie at. But that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wouldn't go so far. I was just about to say, the words were about to escape my mouth, that I really liked Pacific Rim, but I don't think I can go that far. I liked watching Pacific Rim in the movie theater with everybody.
Right.
I don't know if I really liked the movie.
Okay. Yeah, Pacific Rim, I totally agree with you.
Because I was about to say, I'm weird. I like Pacific Rim, and then I was like, oh, but I really kind of don't, though. It was a fun movie, but
I can. It's a different part of me, I fully enjoyed it, but it was a pure entertainment aspect.
Yeah,
it wasn't an emotionally challenging movie, but if you have the right mindset for that, you'll still enjoy it. Nonetheless, Absolutely. So there was one other thing I kind of wanted to mention that Katrina brought up. She thought we compared in our last podcast. We compared Guardians a little too much to Avengers.
Okay.
And she thought a lot of viewers would miss out a lot if they had a mindset of comparing to the Avengers so much.
So I'm glad that she mentioned this, because actually I was having a conversation kind of separate from the fanboys, but about Guardians.
Yeah.
About how he was saying, I wish people would stop doing that.
Right, absolutely.
And that was an interesting conversation, because I hadn't really thought of it before, but I mean, I just said 5 minutes earlier, it's very unique, it's very different. Yeah. And then I go and compare it to the Avengers.
Yeah.
Well, that Avengers is Joss Whedon. This is somebody else completely, and obviously he has a completely different style.
Yeah.
I like Joss Whedon, and I know that because I like his shows. I mean, I even liked Buffy, fully admit it. right? So I like Joss Whedon, and so I liked the Avengers.
Right.
This one to me didn't really fit. A lot of people I know, like this friend of mine, didn't like the Avengers,
Okay.
but went and saw Guardians and said that was great.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And he really liked Guardians.
Yeah.
And then I start to compare it to the Avengers, and he goes, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Because
They are really
completely
different.
Completely different. So I totally understand her point.
Like,
because she's right. Like,
yeah.
we go, oh yeah, but like in the Avengers, when all the characters, like, they have all this great moments, and then I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, it's not even like, first of all, you can't really compare that. Second of all, that's not even really that true. Avengers was rushed too because it had a lot of people in it.
Absolutely.
It had a lot of characters in it. I think it's done well, and in my opinion, I think it's done better than Guardians.
Right, and we kind of brought this up before, and Katrina said the same thing, that like she admitted yes, their timing was different because these characters didn't have 3 other movies behind them.
Yeah,
kind
exactly.
Of thing.
No, and that's very true, and that's why I'm sitting here like I can't really do that. You know?
Yeah.
I in fact, now that she's saying that, I feel bad about the fact that we did that so much in the other podcast because we were talking about it a lot.
It's tough because it comes so natural just talking about all these Marvel universes.
Well, that's the thing is like since it's Marvel, I think we just jump to that conclusion.
Yeah, absolutely.
We just go, okay, well, let's compare it to things that have come before. But even Captain America is a completely different feel from Thor.
Absolutely,
I mean, completely different. And so even those 2 movies, different feels.
But for now, we just have 2 teams.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
But know, I think Katrina brought up a great mindset of like the urgency of us to need to really break those barriers and get a singular mindset on each film kind of thing. You know, to get the full like appreciation for everything.
Yeah, because I and I will fully admit, going into this, thought it was a Marvel movie. Well, it is a Marvel movie, but have the mindset of it being another Marvel movie, and so naturally I'm comparing it to other Marvel movies.
Right.
And I realized after I got out of the theater that, it's not obviously not what he was going for, and obviously not what Marvel was going for. I mean, you can tell that in the comedy, and you can tell that in the way the scenes are laid out even, that it's just not the same. No. It's very different. It's a very specific type of humor. And I'm sitting there going, well, this isn't the Avenger,
Yeah.
So,
I was totally the same way, man. Like, afterwards, like, just comparison with, like, comic styles and their powers and stuff. It's like, okay, how do these line up? Who's a better team? Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute. Everyone's their own entity.
Yeah.
You gotta get out of that mindset to really appreciate everything.
I feel like, this brings us up a really good discussion. This might be something we discuss later in another podcast, but I feel like phase 2, or I think this is phase 3 now, but the next level of heroes, which is going to be like Ant-Man and Doctor Strange, and potentially maybe some Guardians will have their own movies.
Nova,
right?
Yeah.
I think that's been rumored, but I don't know if it's confirmed.
Okay.
Those movies are like, those ones coming up may be completely different. They may be more like Guardians. And I can't sit here because I know the next movie I go see, I can't do what I did with Guardians.
Right.
Because it's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
Because I have a feeling that this director was also helped write Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm pretty sure. Can't remember his name off the top of my head. I feel really bad. But
he's the guy who did Super and Slither, which really surprised me. I didn't realize that before.
Strange, right? But I have a feeling he has a distinct style. He might be, okay, let's take over, let's go this way.
Yeah.
And he might be helping out with Ant-Man or Doctor Strange. We don't know. I wouldn't be surprised.
Right.
Because Guardians did really well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the next movie I go see, I gotta
empty yourself out of all other Marvel stuff. It's like, this is an individual superhero.
And the other thing,
bring it on.
Yeah, the other thing is expectations, because everybody said, I heard a lot about how it was a fantastic movie. I heard a lot about all these other things, and then I go in and I'm expecting, it's not even fair to say Oscar worthy, but I can't come up with another like award winning. Maybe I was expecting something that would blow my mind.
Absolutely.
What I got was a really fun movie.
Yeah, that
I should have enjoyed a lot more than I did. That's what I felt like when I came out of it.
It's like, I guess if Pacific Rim had a whole other like franchise to compete with kind of thing, I think we'd be a lot more critical on it.
Probably.
Yeah.
But we just came out like, ha, that was stupid. and super fun,
and awesome.
right? Yeah. So, So yeah, I totally get what you. That's an incredibly valid point.
Yeah.
About the Avengers.
Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Katrina.
thank
for
you
these
for the
great points.
For the awesome points.
Yeah, keep listening. And yeah, we'd love to hear your
please.
opinions in the future.
Tell us more. When you disagree, agree, whatever.
Oh wait, one more thing.
Okay.
I also apologize for my phone going off like 5 times.
Gosh, Paul, so unprofessional.
I know.
This super professional podcast.
Big secret, guys. We're not in a live studio.
What?
We don't.
Paul, shut up. Don't give it away the secret.
We're ruined.
We're in LA. Don't even worry about it. The cast of the Guardians is coming in next to record something. We might brush shoulders. Though.
Yeah. Chris Pratt, our next guest. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man.
Okay,
Later on, when we have Chris Pratt as a guest, we'll have to call out this episode.
Absolutely.
Anyway, what were you saying?
I did ask her opinion of the Howard the Duck movie.
Oh, God. Oh, no. All right, what'd she say?
She's like, I don't know. I found him so interesting. But Howard the Duck, what is it? Oh, wait. She basically said, basically the flaw would be nobody knows Howard the Duck.
It's kind of true.
Interesting.
There's a very small subset of people that are like, Howard the Duck, you mean that terrible movie?
Exactly.
Like, that's all they know.
Yeah, and what percentage of people who saw that movie knew he was a Marvel character?
Nobody. That's the thing. Like, such a small amount of people.
So, thanks for humoring me for that.
She's like, oh, Paul, no, it's not a good idea.
But thanks again for all your opinions. This is really awesome.
Yeah, it was.
All
right. Well,
until next time,
you can find us at, if you want to shout out and respond to us like Katrina did, you can find us at facebook.com/thefanvoicepodcast,
youtube.com/thefanvoicepodcast,
Twitter at fanvoicepodcast,
our email fan@thefanvoice.com,
and of course our website thefanvoice.com, where we post articles and opinions and all that good junk. So go check it out.
Yeah.
We try to have news up there as well. So.
Absolutely. And
yeah.
If anyone, even on the subject we've already gone on, if you want to come back and give us more opinions on that, like more Guardian stuff, etc., that'd be great.
Yeah. Definitely.
So.
All right.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll see you guys later then.
All right. Later.